So this is me. This video is going to take place in 2 different days. One will be Saturday, which is a couple days ago. Then obviously the other will be today. I purchased a cutout exhaust, an E-valve, whatever you want to call it, from Silber Turbos, I think is how it's pronounced, S-I-L-B-E-R. I'll put a picture of it somewhere here. As I've been going through the install, there's been a lot of things that have happened differently than I anticipated. And as you'll see in the later part of the video, my recording and just like casual Saturday project was a little too casual. So I wanted to sit here and explain this. If you're not interested in this and you just want to see the sound clips, then you can just jump to the end of the video. If you're interested in hearing about it before you possibly jump into installing one of these, then here this is. The first thing is that there's 0 sort of directions for this, which, do I need them? No. I mean, there's 3 bolts here. There's 4 bolts back here that hook up to the turbo, but would it be nice to have something to kind of guide reference off of? Yes. There's no torque specs provided for the gaskets or anything like that, which some people think it's a good thing, some people think it's a bad thing. I just would rather do it for personal preference, I guess. So that was the first thing, was that there's no torque specs for this or for this one back here. So I just Googled the factory Polaris ones. I think it said 18 foot-pounds. So I just went with that. The next issue is, I'll get up and show you guys. There's a block off here on the O2 port. Now this bolt was not in here. So that right there is to obviously, during shipping, anything else, to keep dirt, mud, anything that you might have out of there. The next issue that are lined with this is that there was no sort of tools given to get that out of there. I've seen those before where sometimes they'll use an Allen head. It didn't even have an Allen head in it, so I don't know how they expected you to get it out. I did try using a pair of channel locks, just lightly, and it wasn't tight, it was just, I couldn't get a good grip on it. So unless you have like a random bucket of bolts, which I do, I don't know how you're gonna get this out. And I just got lucky and found one that fit in there. I snugged it down, and when it felt like it was wanting to resist and bottom out, I just decided to back it off and crank it loose, and the whole thing came out. So it's not an issue, it came out, it's just the fact of there was no sort of warning, I guess, if that makes sense. So that's something else that you should probably be considering or be ready for. And I'm trying to think, I think that is it. There are 7 different bolts, 4 of them are one type, 3 of them are another. Would have been nice to know which one's what where, but at the end of the day, there's 3 bolts that are the same, probably go on this side. The 4 bolts that are the same, probably go back here where the 4 bolt holes are. Other than that though, it's been really, really straightforward. I feel like I had something else. I think that's it. There's just a lot of heat shields and stuff you guys got to take off that are 10mm bolts. And that's actually everything that you can see that I have in the bed currently. So a lot of heat shields. And the only other thing is that I would highly, highly suggest, these ones were not horrible. These ones back here, I would highly suggest hitting those with WD-40, something, letting them get warm for maybe, not a couple of days, but just like a day before. You guys know, I mean, unless you're just driving this on the road, there's gonna get mud and stuff built up in there. I'm not a big mud rider, but there was still mud up in there. I had the top 2 turbo bolts out, or bolts to the manifold there. I had those out fine, and then the bottom 2 specifically, there's 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. This one right here was an absolute pain. I had to take a T45, get it hot, and beat it into there just to get it out. So that's just something to think of, but it was also packed full of mud, and that was on my fault. I didn't do my due diligence and just kind of getting it all out of there. But other than that though, those are just a couple of things I wanted to kind of remind you guys of. Another thing, if I can find it here, some people like to hook stuff straight up to the battery. I don't know if it's all Pro XPs, but my Ultimate has a bus bar that's in the front of it. I would highly recommend one of these. I'm just gonna cut apart the wiring harness that they gave me, and then I'm gonna splice it into here so that way it can just go right into my bus bar. I don't like having 800 things pulling power from the battery, or hooked directly to the battery, I should say. So one of these, you can get them. I don't think this is an OEM Polaris one. I'm sure you guys can see it here. But it'll still get the job done. I wanna say it was some off-brand that my local dealership had, because I could get a bag of them for cheaper than I could get just one OEM Polaris one. So having one of these would be really, really nice and helpful if you are anal about it like I am and wanting it to look nice, wanting it to look neat. But yeah, I have the exhaust hooked up already. It does not sound any different whatsoever than it did stock. The only reason it did was because when I started it up originally, This was in there, I couldn't get it out. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to hook up the O2 sensor, and then I'm going to jump into wiring this thing, which will not be what you guys see next. It'll just be a time lapse of me hopefully talking about this, because it is one thing after another where I thought I had everything off, and then I had to take another heat shield, and then you have to take another heat shield, and then another one. So yeah, I'm gonna start wiring this thing up, but you guys will see that later. Or you can just jump to the sound clips at the end, because really that's what we all care for, and that's what we all want to see. So, alrighty, back at it. So, tuning the clutch kit, last video. This video, bought this exhaust. I think the company is pronounced Silber, S-I-L-B-E-R turbos. Always wanted one of these. I had an full HMF exhaust on my last Turbo XP. Thought this would be cool so it wasn't always loud all the time, and it does have the cutout, so 2.5 inch pipe. Hopefully this will focus. The welds on this thing are insane. Hopefully you can see it, and I guess I'll turn around here. But I mean, just like the craftsmanship with this. So I'm gonna go ahead, try to get this thrown on here. It says a couple extra horsepower. I'm not really chasing that. I just want it to sound cool. I'm gonna start taking the bed out, the T40s again, take off some of the heat shields. I already have hit the bolts with WD-40 because I always say if it'll happen to anyone, it'll happen to me. Anyways, before that interrupted me, I always say if it'll happen to anyone, it'll happen to me. My luck is I'll snap a bolt off, so I'm gonna try to get them warm, try to get them loose, and we'll see what we can do. But I'm gonna start with taking the bed off. And all the heat shields that I just took off when I put the clutch kit and the tune on. I'm gonna take it off again, so. So something else that I forgot to show you is that it literally comes with all of the hardware, all of the wiring that you're gonna need. Something I was surprised to see was actually that it does come with new nuts, bolts, and washers. So that'll be nice because if you guys are in mud, or not on purpose, but just whether you're there or not, you're gonna need those. 2 new gaskets, so should be good to go. So what I'm gonna do now is I took the bed off. All of the bolts on the heat shield are 10 millimeters, so I'm gonna take this one off, right there on the mid pipe. Going to actually take the seats out of it just so I can take these twist pins off, and I'll have more access to all the heat shields on the turbo if I pull that out, so it's not hard. The hardest part is getting the latches on these Pro XP seats to come out, but it shouldn't be anything too difficult. So I'm gonna put you on another time lapse. I don't know how this is gonna go. Put you on another time lapse. I'm gonna start ripping heat shields and stuff off, and then I will get to hopefully pulling the exhaust off. I don't know. We'll see where this goes. Just got done taking out the whole back panel. I guess I can just show you guys. Probably easier. Just got done taking out the whole back panel to this here. My hopes are that I'll be able to get into these. I actually have one of these off already. Back into this a little bit easier. There are, I don't know if you guys can even see this here. There are, yeah, you can see the holes right here and right here. To get this bottom piece off, you have to undo 4 T40s. Once again, it seems like everything on this is a Torx, but you have to undo that. So I'm gonna go through here, keep ripping off these heat shields. Most of these bolts are just 10 millimeter bolts. I actually don't know where, oh, that one ripped off, sweet. So not sweet, but it is what it is. So keep ripping heat shields off. Then I will probably go to, yeah, I'll probably hit with this O2 sensor first. Now I have hit this stuff with WD-40 already, so it should all be sitting here and soaking in somewhat. like I said, something that you definitely will need is you definitely need a crow's foot. I think this is 7/8, yeah. So 7/8 crow foot right here. And like I said, you don't need this. This is just me being picky. I'm gonna splice it into this so that way it's up underneath. Not exposed to any weather. It'll hide in that bus bar pretty good. And yeah, so let's try. Yeah, let's get some more heat shields off. Yeah, let's just go with that. Just an eventful Saturday. Alright, just got this heat shield out right here. It was sitting right here in this general area. Once you get to this, we're gonna be able to get these bolts out right here. I believe they're all 10 millimeters. I haven't had a single one yet that hasn't been. So I'm gonna try and knock 1, 2, and 3. I can't tell if that's another one. I don't think it is. I'm just gonna try to hit these 3 right here, see if I can pull this off. I already have, there's one on this side, I have it off, but obviously I can't get to this. So let's hope that 1, 2, and 3 pops off, and I can get this off. And then we can start taking off this whole mid pipe right here. All right, I was wrong somewhere along the line here. There's definitely another one. I see it right now. There's another one holding this together. I don't know if you can see my hand. I got this one off up here, these 2 right here. The other one is right back here. This heat shield is held on by 1 bolt. So once I get this whole shield should, I think, come on. I do have an extension on this. Hopefully you guys can hear me through the windshield. Got that one off. Let's see if this whole thing will come off now. Hopefully it does. And it does. Awesome. Well, how do I want to do this? Probably like that. Be easier. Foot slide all the way off. Oh, perfect. All right, sweet. There we go. Oh, this is not gonna be fun. All right, I think to get this off now, I have this bolt here, 1 more on the other side. This looks horrible, so I'm actually, as I'm getting this off, I'm gonna hit this with WD-40, and then I'm gonna hope that it not cools off, but it soaks in there by the time that I need to get to it. So, time for another time lapse. Alrighty, have these 4 off. So actually, there you go. That top part comes right off. This bottom part should slide right off. There's that. So now, see if I can, about dropped you guys. See if I can break you guys loose now. What I need to get to now is gonna be right up in there. So 1, 2, oh, yep, there they are, 3 and 4. So 4 right here, 3 right here. I'm gonna try to do these ones first because I have a feeling if anything breaks, it's gonna be one of these 4, hopefully, knock on wood. So hopefully if I can get these 4 loose, then I'll be good. I did just spray a little bit of WD-40 on them just now and earlier, so I'm hoping that I can get these 4 loose without having to make them liquid. And if those 4 go good, then hopefully I can just work my way back. So going to get a cheater bar, 18-inch breaker bar, and then I'll let you guys know what size socket that is. All right, I caught it. top two are out. Was able to get this one back here out with a 6mm socket. The other ones I just can't get my sockets into, so I actually had to use a 6mm Allen key. This one came out no issues, but ironically enough, those were the only two that I could really reach at first with the WD-40. Can't reach the other two really the best without pulling the covers, the heat shields. So those are soaking right now, but you'll probably definitely want to have one of these because I can't really reach the rest of it without having to use 18 inches of extension, and I just would rather not do that right now, so. All right, I had to go off of time lapse to the Polaris engineer that thought, just Allen heads were a great idea. I don't know, it's partially my fault. The big thing I will recommend before you start doing this is make sure that there's no dirt caked in these. It started around a little bit, tried using a T40, stripped it out. As you can tell, it's all sorts of hammered. Then took a T45 and a 5-pound dead blow and then just had to beat it out, which of course the hardest one to get access to, which is by far gonna be this one down there. You guys can barely see it, but it's there. That was the one that I couldn't get out. So I would be prepared, WD-40, PB Blaster, whatever you guys need. And then, yeah, so that one's done. Going to start hitting these ones right here. Take off the O2 sensor, and then this will be done and off. I gotta find torque specs for these. I don't know what the torque specs are, but we'll figure that out. So back on a time lapse. Alrighty, out with the old. These had sat, didn't heat these up, WD-40, 3 13mm bullets. These came literally directly right off. I didn't have any issues with these. So I'll probably try to take a Scotch-Brite and just clean up this surface a little bit. Clean up, if you guys can see it, that surface back there, just to make sure that the gasket sits properly and how it's supposed to. And then I gotta look up torque specs for this because that's the one thing about this, it didn't come with any directions. If you're doing this, you probably don't need directions because it's pretty self-explanatory. But it would be nice to know torque specs. And honestly, if it doesn't give me torque specs or I can't find any, I'll just get them snug and call it. So on to the install. Well, I guess cleaning. I ended up finding 18 foot-pounds on the internet. Don't know how correct that is, but that's what I'm gonna go with, is 18 foot-pounds. So I'm gonna pull this stuff out. Some zip ties, I'm assuming that's for wiring. More zip ties, more zip ties. More zip ties, holy. More zip ties, okay. Set these there with the rest of the mess I have. Wiring harness I don't need. Gaskets I do. This one right here will go to the turbo. This will sit right back there. And then wiring harness right here. Now what I did forget to do was a before and after. Probably would have been smart, but it's literally just a bone stock 2023 Pro XP. And I have sound clips. I can try to find some, but it won't do anything because it's just stock. It's kind of boring. So I guess I'm gonna go ahead and get this put back on, and then I'll start wiring. I probably will start it up. Actually, I'll just do that. I'll start it up with the exhaust on, because theoretically with the valve closed, it should sound like stock, and then when the valve is open, that's when it'll dump right out the turbo. So like I said, we'll do that. I'll do a sound comparison for you guys. All right, have the exhaust on. This will sit here. Going to start it up and see what it sounds like. All right, a little bit louder than I anticipated, but I also on the O2 sensor in, so it's kind of coming out of, yep, right there. So I'm gonna call it for today. I have it on. I'll mess with the wiring tomorrow. All right, O2 sensor is back in there. Like I said, this was, if this will focus here, this was the bung that was in there. And then there's this bolt that I just, like I said, I just happened to have it, so it worked out for me. So it's in there, it's all good to go. So now I gotta figure out how I want to wire this. You probably don't have to take this much of the plastics out, but I went ahead and did it. These are just a bunch of twist pins that, let me see if I can 0.5 this. These are just a bunch of twist pins up here. To get this bottom one out, the only thing you do have to do, I don't know if you can see, but there's 1, 2 on each side. So there's 2 T40s there. This will let me get a better view of that right there. So that's what you guys need the access to. I'm telling you this one down here is going to be the biggest pain for you to get to. This one you can reach from up top, no issues. This one will be a little tight. Actually, this one's kind of fine too on the back side. It's just this bottom one that's a real pain. So make sure you get those hit down first. But now I got to figure out how I want to wire this, because it needs to go from, you can see it down there if it'll focus. That black piece right there. It's got to come all the way into here. I got to somehow run this through here. It'll go up underneath the here. And then if I can find the bus bar, it's underneath it there. I got to get it there somehow. So this is kind of where I'll probably just lay it out. I'll honestly, what I'll do actually is I'll put this bottom piece of plastic in there, and then I'll figure out how to run it from there, because I'm trying to keep it away. Ideally, it stays away from the exhaust, obviously, because you don't want it to get too hot, but the whole motor and everything else is back here, so it's going to hold a crap ton of heat. So yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll just throw this bottom plastic piece in, and then I'll keep you guys updated with where I go from there. All right, I think I'd rather take the whole motor apart than have to take all the plastics off this thing. No reason for it to be as hard as it is, but it is. The plan for now is, see if I can pull you guys off here. The plan for now is, as I look in the back of this here, I don't know if you guys can even see. Underneath of there is just open for wiring. So I don't want to say open for wiring, but it's just open, and it's actually right underneath of the glove box right here, right underneath there, through there, and then I can actually run it all the way up underneath of everything else, and then up into there where I need it to. So I think at this point, I'm just going to start from the back here. I actually, I'll take this, that portion right there, we'll plug in to the exhaust, and then I guess I'll just run it all the way up through here, and then loop what excess I have up underneath of my ride command. But it shouldn't be hard. Like I said, the hardest part so far has just been getting this bottom plastic piece in, because there's 100 pounds of dirt in this. So I guess we'll go from now. So another time lapse. All right, so long time lapse. Figured I should give an update. Was going to start from here and run it up through there. Decided against that. Decided I would rather just have the rocker switch in there, run everything else up to where it needs to be, and then try to feed it to the back, so that way I can have everything tied up underneath of it. Proved to be a complete pain in the butt without having to take the side plastics off. So what I did is I actually just took the skid plate off because I dropped a socket down underneath there anyway, so I had to take it off anyway. So instead of tearing out all the plastics on the inside, which like I said are a complete pain in the butt to get back together, I dropped the skid plate. So what my plans are now, are to, you can see I have this up here, I still gotta splice that in, but hopefully, and I don't have my flashlight up here, I don't know what I did with that. Anyways, my plans are now that I can see all the way to the bottom, that when I start fishing this through, I'll be able just to grab it and pull it, because once I get it to here, I can get to it, but I cannot get to it here. It's in the abyss right there. It's really dark. So I guess we'll see if we can get going. So I'm not even going to record this. I'm just going to see if I can get it ripped through. When I can get it ripped through to where I want it to, it should come out about right there. So that's my hopes. We'll see. I'll keep you guys updated. All right. Have the wiring pulled all the way back through to where I need it to be. You can see it's chilling right there for right now. Still trying to figure out how I want to route this. Obviously with the least amount of heat as possible, which is going to kind of be the tricky part here, because there's obviously no way to get around the exhaust. I could pull it up to there and run it through here, which honestly might be what I do. I might run it up across the bed rail and then just run it down and see if it'll plug in right here. So I think that's what we'll do now. But yeah, if you don't want to mess with the plastics, I totally recommend just getting the skid plate off. I mean, it was literally, I want to say 10 millimeter bolts, and I was able just to fish it right through. And I honestly probably took 15 minutes off camera trying to sit there, pull the cup holder out, pull that off, and it was just a complete pain. So I'm going to get this hooked up, try to figure out how I want to route it, and then I guess I'll keep you guys updated with what I choose. All right, I've actually changed my mind. I'm just gonna make sure it works first. I'm not gonna sit here and tidy it all up and have something be wrong. So it's plugged in right now. I'm gonna go up there, splice the rest of the wires in, do what I need to. Yeah, and like I said, we'll see if it even works first, because I'm not gonna sit here and try to route it. It's gonna be tricky because it plugs in like this, and I just don't know how I wanna go about wiring it through there. I really want to run it across this rail right here, but I probably have to run it underneath of this. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. I'll figure something out. I mean, there's going to be no great way. And whatever way I do choose, someone's going to have something to say about it. So I'm going to start splicing. All right. Got it all spliced together. Have it plugged into the bus bar. See if I can speed this down for you guys. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it. I'm going to turn the key over. And I'm going to hit the rocker. It's closed right now, so theoretically we should be able to hear it. When I spliced this in, I didn't splice it to the power. I spliced it to the accessory, just because I don't ever need to be able to turn it on and off without the key off. So interesting. All right, 100% my fault. I was plugging it in and ripped the connection out from one of the butt connectors. So that was 100% my fault. So now I guess to get this connected again. All right, I got it. Let me see if I can get you guys in a position where you can really. See if I can get you here. All right, let me see if I can get you guys in position where you'll be able to see it. So right now it should be closed, and then open, closed, open. Let's see what that looks like. Sweet. Yep, so it'll dump right out there. Has it blocked off, it'll open up through the turbo. So cool. So I guess let's just fire it up real quick. Make sure everything's all good. It won't be long, it'll just be for a little bit. So we'll see what happens here. I'm gonna start it up with it closed here. Get a sound of what it's like stock. I have an absolute mess. exhaust works. I knew it was going to be loud, but I was not aware that it was going to be that loud. Like, it's so loud that it almost, when I close the valve, it sounds exactly like, I don't know. It almost like, it just reminds you of like an electric vehicle. Like, it's making sound. It doesn't think it's making that much sound. So I'm going to go through here once again. I'm going to figure out how I want to wire this. I got it all connected up there. So at this point, it's just kind of buttoning it up and putting stuff back together. So hopefully the next video is, I'm not going to make you guys watch this, but next video will kind of be just me walking through it, how I have it tied up, and then put it back together. Then I'm going to be done. Start cleaning up and call it from there. And then get you guys some sound. Alrighty, I have it in just the quiet mode, or I'm sorry, the closed mode right now. So we'll just get some in-cab footage here if we can. We'll just get a little pull here. I do think it sounds a little bit louder. Let's turn the shocker on. Wow, holy crap. Wow, that is extremely loud.